to the August 5th, 2026 meeting of the Goffstown Economic Development Council, and then starting with Joanne, if we can establish.
Joanne Duffy, Planning and Economic Development Director.
Chet Bowen, Chair.
Joshua Noah, Select Board Rep.
Darrell Hamlin.
Charlie Birchmeyer, member.
Oscar Olo, member. Dick Brito, Vice Chair, I think.
I think. Okay, great, thank you. Start with, hopefully everyone saw the minutes, motion to approve. Or any edits that are needed?
I have to abstain because I was not here.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Okay, motion by Oscar, is there a second?
I mean, my name's spelled wrong, but if you want to make that adjustment,
You can make that adjustment, where is it?
we're literally at the very bottom in bold.
Oh, Charlie, okay.
Charlie.
So we can make that adjustment. So
Not your last name.
With that change, I will second.
okay, with that change, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes, and I think you're abstaining, right? You're abstaining from that?
Yes, I am, sorry.
Just making sure. Okay, so we have new business. Julie, do you want to introduce Darrell?
Sure. So we have a few openings on the board, as you're probably aware. And Darrell had expressed an interest quite a while ago, and he started to think it over and eventually handed in his application. And he's interested in serving as a full-time member. He has experience when he lived in Londonderry, and he used to work for the town for the GTV for many years.
I'll see his resume too. Does anyone have any questions?
No, I think it's great that he wants to join us.
I
No, he will.
couldn't agree more.
I hope he will.
So the process would be to make a motion
To recommend Darrell, recommend that the Select Board appoint Darrell.
Yep.
And then once that happens, we'll send it over to the selectmen, and they would take care of that, and then it should be done before our next meeting, which is in September.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
That we should send that to the select board.
Second.
Motion by Dick, second by Oscar. All in favor say aye.
I
Motion passes.
Abstain.
Yep.
Thank you. So I put the second item on there,
Contact with commercial realtors, because I noticed in looking online for projects that were for sale in Goffstown, I found more things in commercial that were for lease versus that were for sale. So I did supply some information on here, but realized I didn't include the phone number, so I'll need to provide that as well. But for now, these are the properties that are up for lease, and if you have the opportunity to spread the word that these owners are looking to lease their property out, that would be great. I'll send along tomorrow, I'll send along the phone numbers.
see that first. That's the one that's beside the lift rental beyond
Yes.
your radio station.
Yeah. That used to be a Century 21.
Yes, because they owners
Started with an L.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah,
He was on a couple of boards at that. And of course, we know Rite Aid.
Right, I'm
Other
surprised hasn't had more action on that one yet. Many of the Rite Aids that have gone out of business have already been redeveloped in other communities.
What have they been turned into now?
Oh, things like Dollar General and,
Okay.
yeah.
Been all over the place.
Here we have two of those in town.
Yes, we
Right.
do.
A couple of them
I
become
did call
pharmacies.
CVS many months ago when that first happened, and they said they have no plans to expand in this area at this time, so, which is unfortunate because now we're only left with Hannaford as the only drugstore.
town,
It's not really a drugstore,
And I assume Walgreens wouldn't be interested because it's too close to the town
yeah.
there.
So I'll let everyone know, I actually have some time for once next week, so I'll volunteer, once Joanne sends the numbers, I'll volunteer to make the calls, and then I can update you all when we come back, because I can't do that via email, but I can update everybody when we come back next month about what we can do or what they suggest that we do for them, and then we can have a discussion about what that looks like.
Another building is right on Pleasant Street as you turn right from Main.
Yep.
Is that Gammon's
That's
property?
Gannon's property, and it's kind of run down looking, but there is a tenant in there for the driving school.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, he's been in there for a few months
He's no
now.
longer doing his, didn't he have patio enclosures, wasn't that his?
Yes, yeah, I
business
think
there?
since I forget his first name, but Mr.
Yeah.
Gannon's
Al.
passed away, Al.
Yeah, well, Al Jr., I
I-
think,
I
is
guess he just
running
gave
I
up
thought he
on
was,
it.
okay.
So yeah, that building, and then the last one is the Blondos building where the doggy daycare went in recently. In a portion of it, there's still lots of space in that building.
There was like a jump
Police.
house thing there, right? Is that what that was? Or is that
No.
across the way?
This is on Depot Street, down at the very end of Depot near the cemetery.
Okay.
Oh.
And
was,
Who'd you say this belongs to?
the Blondos,
Yeah, what was,
Ray.
yeah, but what was the business?
Oh, it was
name?
called Happy House and
Happy House Amusements.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Many years ago.
Vending
Vending
machines.
Yeah,
machines. And now, I believe the only thing in there currently is the new doggy daycare.
I think there's something else down there, some sort of like electrical or something. I see other vans down there.
Oh, you do? Okay, so maybe
Because
there's
I've
some
run
others.
past that and seen at least different,
They did some renovation to the building to make it more user-friendly in the last few years, so.
Is that beyond the fabricators?
yeah, all the way at the end.
Yeah,
You got-
it's all the way, almost to the cemetery.
Okay.
That's on the right-hand
Yeah,
side.
and you can come into it from the other side by the cemetery.
Yeah, that church, at the end of Church Street there.
Mhm. And it's a decent building, it's in good shape.
Yeah, I remember it being good shape. I just forgot that it was all the way down because I saw the doggy daycare listed to go in.
Yeah. They're doing pretty well.
What side of the dog daycare? What is that?
It'd be to the right of it, I believe. Right. Because the doggy daycare is all the way to the end on the left. So as you're looking at the building, they're on the left, and I think their space is on the right.
The space where you see the front door,
Yeah.
that used to be office space in there. I don't know whether they've converted it or not, or left it as office, but the remainder of it is more warehouse space.
All right, so I'll make these calls and come back with whatever they recommend or would like us to do. We can have that discussion next month if that works for everybody. It's nice that I actually have some time that I can actually
All right,
do something
all
in
right.
between. So it feels good. Okay. And thanks, Sean, for putting it together.
No problem.
I do-
And then,
Sorry, I
okay,
do say the Pleasant Street property is for sale.
Oh, yes, it is. Some of these are for lease, but most of them are for lease, but that one is for sale. 900,000.
Hmm.
It just went on the market like a week or so ago.
Okay.
And then the only other thing I have is the upcoming activity with the planning board. We have a meeting next week. Someone's coming in for a multi-family building, you know where Abingdon Way is in Pinardville near Franklin Savings Bank. There's one final lot in that development.
Mhm.
And they would like to, now that the law has changed where you could have multifamily in the commercial zone, they would like to put up, first they came in with cottages. I think there were 5 altogether.
Mhm.
But then they switched it up and now they're just looking at one building with 12 units. And they're coming in just for conceptual only, just talk to the planning board about it.
And is that beyond the Starbucks? Is that where that is?
If you're looking at the Starbucks, it's to the right.
To the right.
And like in the back. So it's in front of the apartments that are owned
Yeah,
by
okay.
NeighborWorks.
Okay.
Just that one space left over there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But again,
It's a
based on the
small
new
lot.
law, they can, I thought it had to be a mixed-use
Yes, that's
building. If you
Part of the law calls for retail or some sort of commercial on the first floor and then residential on the second floor. But there is a clause in there that if they can prove to the planning board that there's not a breakup of retail or commercial, that they would be allowed to do it. So since there's, all of the other lots are commercial or some sort of retail, and it's all one condominium. So they're looking to see if the planning board would allow it or not. So that's why they're coming in, just for a conceptual discussion.
Okay.
Okay. Okay.
And the next one, this is kind of a weird one. It's a duplex addition. So if you are at the Cumberland Farms on Main Street, I don't believe it's the first house. I think it's the second house after on the right. It's like a light blue color. They're looking, so there's currently a quite large, like old farmhouse type of building there. And they're looking to add a duplex to the property. So they would have 3 units altogether.
Okay.
And that one has been before the board once before, but it got continued, so they're coming back.
That's residential zone on Mass Road, or is it?
I can't remember off the top of my head. I think it might be, I think it is residential. Yeah, I
Only, I assume it because it's all houses
Yeah.
after Cumberland.
I'm pretty sure it is, but I'm not positive. It abuts the Sudeca property that you get to that through Knollcrest, and then there's Sudeca Lane. That's the sort of butts in the back. The next one is expansion of a former home occupation. That one is owned by Wayne Surratt. He has a plumbing business currently in a garage on Goffstown Back Road that's been there for probably 25 years. He started small out of the garage, eventually, had more and more employees. I think he has like 20-something employees now, so it's really no longer a home occupation. And he's looking to build a separate building and just have the plumbing business and the trucks in the garage portion, and then an office space on the second floor. And so they're coming in for a site plan approval.
That's great.
Yeah,
Good.
it's a nice story of how somebody did really well.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
he's a good business.
The fourth one is a doggy day night care. This one had to go to the zoning board because it's in the commercial zone, and it's currently not allowed in the commercial zone because with the use of the night, overnight, you're not allowed to have that in the commercial zone. It's more suited for agricultural zone. So they did get the variance, and now they're coming back. It's going into the Fun City Plaza.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Right.
Well, okay, so we're not talking about the one on Depot Street?
No, that one's already approved.
Okay.
And it's, the reason they're really coming into the planning board is because they're not changing the structure whatsoever. They're just going into one of the units that's been used for something else. But they are adding in the back, they're adding an outdoor area for the dogs to go outside and fenced in. So we had a TRC meeting for this previously, and there was concern about what happens to the urine and where does it go and does it smell and all of those things. So they did have to provide us with a plan of how they're planning to treat it and what they're putting down on the ground and all of that. So we'll see if the planning board goes along with it or not, but they're coming in next week.
What unit are they taking over? Do you know?
It's on the same side as the brewery. I think it's like 2 doors away
Okay.
from the
It
brewery.
used to be like our hot tub place, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, go.
And a Radio Shack maybe.
Oh,
remember that.
Yeah, that's good. We're back.
And the last item is the adoption of the revised development regulations, which we've been working on forever. Those were approved by the planning board 2 weeks ago, or last week, I think it was last week. And there's just one hang up with it. They were approved and they were supposed to go into effect last week. However, there's another document that has to go along with it that came from DPW. It's about water quality, and the two go together. So there was a mix-up, I guess, a few years ago. There were 2 hearings held for the public for this new document. It was a brand new document. And but they never went back to the selectmen for the final vote, which is required 10 days after the hearing. So everyone thought, I guess, it was adopted, but it never had that final approval. So that's going to your meeting on the 10th. And once that goes into effect, the development regulations will kick in as well. And both documents work side by side, so you can't really have one without the other.
What are the significant changes?
The
Joanne?
changes in the development regulations, so the current regulations are from 2015, and they were quite old and outdated. So we had the entire document rewritten. And so the procedural things are the same. You know, you have to submit so many days prior, and you know we need so many copies and things like that. But a lot of the nuts and bolts and the important items, especially like they changed the grade of the slopes that are acceptable and can be built on to 20%. They used to be 25. So now you need to not be so free as, you know, building on these steeper slopes. The driveway regulations changed somewhat. They just became stricter because of the type of land we're working with now versus back in 2015. There was a lot better suitable land for building. I mean, we're very limited now on what we have left.
Okay.
And also the AOT requirements at the state, the alteration of terrain, those have changed. And because of that, our development regulations were out of date. So that's why the DPW, I guess when they went to the selectmen a few years ago and they asked if they could pull out all of those types of requirements and put them in a separate document. And then this way Public Works would be in charge of that document. So that was part of the changes that were made. Okay. So you can't really do like a side-by-side match of like say, okay, like this section changed or that section changed because the whole entire document was rewritten.
Yeah.
But it basically, it's definitely will make things harder on land that's not that great, and maybe, you know, hopefully produce quality projects as an outcome.
Yeah. So this, it doesn't have any, because we've had discussions about streamlining the process. First, somebody come in.
It does. It actually injects an entire checklist that has to go into place now.
Yes. There's
So I think
several
that's
checklists.
kind of been left out. Like it will streamline that before it even makes it to the planning board. So somebody should understand exactly everything that needs to go through.
That's good.
And then once that happens, then it should come through and we can actually say the application's complete.
Good.
I would say that it isn't just making it harder. I think it also clearly identifies certain things and aligns to some of the state regulations too.
Yeah, a lot of those
Yeah.
have changed. And like Josh just said about the checklist, so we have a checklist for completeness now, which we did before, but it was very vague. And now it's clear and people will understand it better. Then we have a checklist for a site plan, a checklist for subdivision. So depending on what type of project you're doing, the checklists actually meet the requirements for each type of, because every project is different.
So I think those checklists would that be on the site, on the planning board site? Is that something where a potential developer could look at?
Well, that would be part of the application,
Oh, okay.
yeah. And then they would know right off the bat, you know, what's required as far as even to be found complete. Like right now, you don't need very much to be found complete, but this checklist lays it out and is very clear.
They have
Good.
to look in several places. This will consolidate it all.
Yeah.
That's what I think we talked about it a lot.
Unfortunately, we did advertise this hearing in the newspaper, but unfortunately, years ago, the engineering companies used to take great interest in whenever things changed, and they were very, like, you know, kind of on guard, like, oh no, what are you doing? And they paid attention, but what I've noticed in the last several years, they don't seem to do that any longer, so they're all going to be surprised. I know it's kind of unfortunate, but I mean, I was thinking about sending out an email to the ones that regularly come in just to give them a heads up once it goes into effect and just say, hey, you know, just so you know, this is happening.
Yeah, I think that's a
Yeah.
good courtesy.
And that's all I have.
Okay. I have the Goffstown Police Building Ad Hoc Committee. I've been asked to appoint someone, so this is going to be a very interesting committee to be on. I've seen the police station numerous times, increasing challenges to really function at the level they need to function at. So this committee will be exploring that and making recommendations to the select board going forward to see if the select board can then take the conversation from there and see if what we're going to do for the police station, hopefully. So would anybody be interested in doing that?
What days do they meet?
Great question. What days do they meet?
I don't think they've decided that yet because
Yeah.
all of the appointments haven't been made.
I mean, that would be the only thing.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Whoever does it, if you can't make it, I'll be your backup. I'm actually very invested in this. So, so do you want me to appoint you for now and then?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, well, yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So Oscar, thank you, Oscar. That's awesome.
So the people on the committee are there's some staff members as well
Eric,
as,
Chief.
so, there's a planning board, everyone from, there's 2 people from the public, the town administrator, the DPW director, finance director. So I'm not sure if they're planning to meet during the daytime or in the evening.
Okay.
I would think in the evening, but I can't say for certain.
I don't think that they will just meet in the daytime, so.
It's probably a night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's probably not going to be like a weekly or a bi-weekly thing, I can't imagine.
Yeah. Quarterly or like monthly maybe?
Yeah, typically when those committees get formed, at least all the ones I've seen are typically monthly or quarterly.
Okay. That
Um,
should be good.
And because they're going to be grabbing data and then basically having to parse it, so it's going to take time in between each one.
Mhm.
And I forgot the last thing, Oscar and I have been working on a
Chart.
flow chart for our process. Mostly, I mean, for our process, mostly planning's process. And he sent this to me today, and I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but we're going to set up another meeting. And
Yeah, we met last month,
Yeah,
was
about a
it?
month
So, yeah.
ago.
And basically, want to make it easier for people to understand what the process is.
And then once this is finalized and approved, it will go on the website.
This is the current process?
No, this is a draft. The current process is not this long.
So the current process is much shorter?
Yes,
Do we have a flow chart for that too?
we do.
Is that something that you can send around?
The current flow chart?
Current and the proposed?
Yeah.
I'll work on that, like, make it a little more concise, maybe to help out a little bit. It's really long. I'd like to get it on one 8x11.
So if we send that on, then we can review it. So what I have for next month, then I'll report out the phone calls I make to the commercial realtors and see what they suggest we can do. And then we'll do a flow chart review. Hopefully Darryl will be official by then. That'll be awesome. And then anything else that someone wants to go through. Okay, then we'll put those items on the agenda. And that'll do it. So is there a motion?
I'll make the motion, sure.
Second.
Motion to
Motion
adjourn.
to adjourn and seconded. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hey, meeting adjourned. I'm shocked. Because you joined at the